Cars. We see them every day, and yet most of us rarely stop to think about how they've become what they are today. From the boxy beasts of the early 20th century to the sleek, futuristic machines of today, car design is more than just aesthetics. It's a reflection of society, technology, and sometimes just plain old ego. But hey, before you buckle up for this ride through automotive history, let me ask you, have you ever looked at a car and thought, why on earth did they design it like that? If not, don't worry, you will after this. Let's rewind to the early 1900s when cars were little more than motorized carriages. Seriously, if you slapped a horse in front of a Model T, no one would bat an eye. These cars were purely functional, with zero regard for style. They were the kind of vehicles that screamed, "I'll get you there," eventually. But at the time, that was enough. People were just thrilled to have something that didn't poop in the street. Fast forward to the 1920s and 1930s, and you'll see car manufacturers starting to realize that maybe, just maybe, cars could look good too. Enter the era of curves. These weren't just cars, they were Art Deco sculptures on wheels. Brands like Bugatti and Rolls-Royce created vehicles that oozed elegance. They were the ultimate status symbols, designed to show off wealth and taste. If you owned one, you weren't just driving, you were flexing on everyone in your neighborhood. Then came the 1950s, the golden age of American cars. If the 1920s cars were about elegance, the 1950s were about excess. Big, bold, and brimming with chrome, these cars looked like rocket ships on wheels. Why? Because people were obsessed with the space age. Designers were inspired by jets, rockets, and anything that looked like it could blast off into the stratosphere. Tail fins? Necessary. Over-the-top grills? Essential. These cars weren't practical, but they were cool, and that's what mattered. They were saying, I don't care about gas mileage. I care about being the king of the road. But hold on, because the 1970s came crashing in and things got weird. The energy crisis hit, and suddenly, those giant gas guzzlers didn't seem so great. Cars became smaller, boxier, and honestly, kind of boring. It's like designers collectively decided, you know what? Let's just give up. The 70s were the equivalent of wearing sweatpants to a fancy dinner, comfortable but uninspired. And don't even get me started on those ridiculous colors. Who thought pea green and mustard yellow were good ideas? Then, as if to make up for the horrors of the 70s, the 1980s gave us cars that looked like they were designed by geometry teachers. Everything was sharp angles and straight lines. Cars like the Lamborghini Countach became icons, not because they were practical, but because they looked like they came straight out of a sci-fi movie. The 80s were all about flash, big hair, big shoulder pads, and big dreams. And the cars? They were no different. By the time the 1990s rolled around, car design started to mellow out. It was the decade of practicality. Designers realized that maybe, just maybe, cars should be comfortable to drive. Rounded edges replaced sharp angles, and cars started to look, well, normal. This was the era of minivans and sedans, vehicles that prioritized families and fuel economy over flair. They weren't the most exciting, but they got the job done. And now we're in the modern era, where car design is all about blending aesthetics with technology. Cars today are sleek, aerodynamic, and packed with more gadgets than a James Bond movie. Touchscreens, AI assistants, self-parking features. These cars practically drive themselves. And let's not forget electric cars. Companies like Tesla have redefined what cars can be, creating vehicles that are not only environmentally friendly, but also ridiculously fast. It's like we've come full circle back to creating art, but now with a heavy dose of innovation. But here's the thing, while car design has evolved, one thing hasn't changed: our obsession with speed, power, and looking cool. Admit it, you've judged someone based on their car before. We all have. It's human nature. Whether it's drooling over a Ferrari or laughing at someone still driving a beat-up 90s sedan, cars say a lot about us. And before we move on, let me hit you with a challenge. If you're enjoying this trip down automotive memory lane, hit that like button and subscribe. It's like giving your favorite car a fresh coat of wax. Effortless, but it makes a big difference. Now, let's keep rolling. Looking to the future, car design is only going to get crazier. With the rise of autonomous vehicles, we might not even need steering wheels anymore. Designers are already imagining cars that look more like living rooms on wheels. Think couches, touchscreens everywhere, and maybe even a mini fridge. And let's not forget about sustainability. Companies are experimenting with materials like recycled plastics, plant-based leather, and even hemp. Yes, hemp. Imagine telling someone in the 50s that their car would one day be made of plants. But as exciting as the future is, it's hard not to feel a little nostalgic. There's something special about the cars of the past. The ones with character, the ones that roared when you hit the gas, the ones that didn't try to outsmart you with a billion sensors. Modern cars might be smarter and safer, but do they have soul? That's up for debate. So, where does that leave us? Well, if history has taught us anything, it's that car design will keep evolving. Trends will come and go, and every generation will have their own idea of what makes a car cool. But one thing's for sure, cars will always be more than just machines. They're a reflection of who we are, where we've been, and where we're going. Alright, time to wrap this up. If you made it this far, congratulations. You've officially survived my roast of automotive history. Now go ahead and comment your favorite era of car design. Are you all about the classic curves, the futuristic sleekness, or maybe the ridiculousness of the 70s? And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Because let's face it, you don't want to miss the next time I tear apart another piece of automotive culture. Until then, keep your engines running and your seatbelts fastened. See you in the next one.